Now, let's start with your response to the scene itself. Did you respond there?
Yes, I did.
And there were other members of your evidence collection investigative team?
Yes, I was not the lead investigator, but I was a member of the team that assisted in processing the scene.
And Valmyra was part of that team?
Yes, she was the lead investigator who authored the crime scene report.
And have you worked with her on many occasions?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and do me one favor, because I've started out this way, but not with you. Can you make sure you talk very loud, because the folks in the first and second row need to hear you also.
I will try to do better.
I'm not saying you weren't doing well. I'm just saying, just going forward. When you went to that scene, did you have any specialized duties as far as looking at that scene and processing it?
I came in with a DNA mindset, looking for evidence that could be collected for possible future DNA testing. My job there was evidence collection, where I swabbed several items for DNA testing in the future and also helped collect other items of evidence as well.
Okay, so you physically collected exhibits yourself?
Yes, I did.
And did you swab items at the scene itself?
Yes, I did.
And then did you test items that you didn't necessarily swab at the scene that you tested back at your lab?
Yes, and this is normal.
Okay, I'm going to direct your attention first to exhibit number 9, which is a report dealing with request number 3. Can you take a look at that?
Yes.
Okay. In request number 3, did you take a look at the items that had been collected from the investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And when you work on a case like this, do you work with detectives?
Yes, they are typically at the scene as well.
Okay. When it comes to deciding what to process for DNA, is that somewhat of a complex decision to make, what items get processed and what items cannot be processed?
There can be a lot of communication involved. Ultimately, it's dependent on what the detective or the officer in charge would like to be tested, but we can sometimes, we as in myself and other members of the crime scene team or other members of a DNA unit, can give input on what might be the best items to have probative results.
Okay, and you've done that on a regular basis?
Yes.
There's communication back and forth?
Yes, sometimes.
Hopefully, but ultimately it's going to be the detective's decision where to direct your talents.
That would be correct.
Okay. Now, based on things that get processed and then things that collected later and then requests for process, that again is a discussion with you and the detective.
Yes.
Starting with exhibit number 9, did you process an exhibit that was a white mask?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you have your own set of numbers regarding what you're processing for an evidence property tag, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that evidence property tag number is not going to match up how we're calling it today in court. Okay, so that white mask for the property that was pulled was given your property number 172985, is that correct?
Yes, there were 2 white masks submitted for this report, but one of them is item number 172985.
Okay, and I'm going to ask to approach these have, I believe, already been admitted into evidence because they came from Cato Parish. But do you recognize this item itself?
This is item 172985, and my signature is across the seal.
Okay, and for the record, this one's been labeled 7B. I'm going to ask you, because of your responsibilities, do you deal with biohazards?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. Would it be a hazard for you to open this up, or would you be able to open up the mask to show us what you tested?
That can be up to you guys. Most of the time I don't prefer to open it up just in case future DNA testing, because I don't want to be responsible for contaminating, but that is the decision of the court.
I'll leave it in the bag. If defense counsel wants it removed, we can do so. If the jury wants to see it out of the bag, we can do so also at some other point. But I'll refer to it.
Would you feel more comfortable if you had plastic gloves or latex gloves?
Gloves and possibly a mask, yes.
Okay. All right. So if we're taking out the biohazard evidence, we'll provide that to you.
Thank you so much.
So regarding Exhibit 7B, what did you do regarding that exhibit?
So the item was one sealed brown paper bag containing one off-white balaclava mask. This mask was submitted where I collected a sample of DNA from the mask that then went forward for DNA testing.
Okay, and did you swab the inside or the outside of the mask or both?
Per my notes, if I'm recollecting correctly, I swabbed where the nose and mouth covering would have been. There was a seam on the interior of the mask, so I could make an assumption of the interior. So I was able to swab where I believe the covering would be.
Okay, and for any of these results to even start taking place, you have to have some standard known samples of folks that we're interested in for comparison purposes. Is that correct?
That would be correct, but I do want to put out there that in cases where there's evidence and knowns, I do process the evidence first before processing the knowns to ensure that there was no contamination between the known evidence with the evidence that is being tested.
Okay, and when you finally got to the point of making comparisons, what were the knowns that you were given in this case for comparison purposes?
There were 4 different knowns that I received. Do you want me to read the item numbers associated with them as well? Or just the names?
No, at this point we're going to go item by item when we get to that with the results, but who just in general did you have for comparison purposes?
There were 2 victims and 2 suspects. The names of the associated individuals were Zuazo, Linda Murray, Carlos Hernandez, and Hussein Murray.
And what type of samples did you have for comparison purposes?
For Hussein Murray, I received a blood card, and for the other 3 people, I received a buccal swab, which is a sample from the inside of their mouth, which collects skin cells that can be used to develop a DNA profile.
Okay, so going back to exhibit number 7B, were you able to get any connection between any of the knowns and that inside of that white mask?
For the results of this and the interpretation, a DNA profile is interpreted as originating from a single male individual. After we as in the laboratory part of procedure, but I did a statistic. I need to go into this real quick before I read the statistics so it makes a little bit more sense. It's a likelihood ratio where I'm comparing 2 different hypotheses against one another, the person of interest versus an unknown, unrelated person. You can think of it as a teeter-totter where both of these hypotheses are competing, and whatever one is stronger, there will be a value associated with it, and there's also a verbal qualifier as the last sentence to tell you how strong of a support that person may or may not be a contributor to the sample. So it's kind of a lengthy statement, but I'm going to have to read the entire thing, so it's all together. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 9.68 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Joshua Zuazo than if it originated from an unrelated, unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Joshua Zuazo is a contributor to the DNA typing results obtained.
Okay. I'm going to move to exhibit 7C, which corresponds to your lab property number 172991. And also 7D, which is also part of your 1792991B. Do you see those?
Yes, I do. And real quick, back to that first mask, Carlos Hernandez, Hussein Murray, and Linda Murray were excluded as possible contributors to that DNA results that were obtained. So,
Excuse me, I didn't follow that. Which item are we talking about?
I apologize. The first balaclava mask we were talking about, item 172985.
Linda Murray and Hernandez, and the third name you said?
Hussein Murray.
Very good, thank you. Now I understand.
I'll approach you with people exhibit 7C and 7D, which have the face covering and mask inside. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize it?
It has the item number associated and as well as my initials on the tape seal when I resealed the evidence.
I'm not going to ask you to open that because that's, again, a biohazard, but did you do testing on that item?
Yes, I did.
Okay, regarding the face covering, did you come up with any observations of the face covering or the N95 mask as far as your visual observations?
So in this package, there were two separate masks. One was an N95. The other was a balaclava off-white mask, again, similar to a ski mask. For this result, for the balaclava mask, I simply took a collection of the interior of the mask again around that mouth and nose covering. I did not observe any other biological stains on that item. And for item B, the N95 mask, I took a swab from the interior of the mask, and I also took a swab from the exterior of the mask because I had observed a red-brown stain that was presumptively tested and tested positive for the possible presence of blood.
And did you get any results that were relevant to the knowns that you were given?
For the balaclava mask, the partial DNA profile is interpreted as originating from a single male individual. I compared all 4 people to this as well. Items, so Joshua Zuazo, Hussein Murray, and Linda Murray are excluded as possible contributors to the DNA results obtained. I then did a following comparison that based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 166 septillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Carlos Hernandez than if it originated from an unrelated unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Carlos Hernandez is a contributor to the DNA typing results obtained.
Approach you with People's Exhibit that's been numbered 7E.
Would you like me to read the
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
the N95 mask?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
The N95 mask, there were two swabs that were collected. One from the interior of the mask, which was the DNA profile is interpreted as a mixture of 3 individuals. So Joshua Zuazo is excluded as a possible contributor from the DNA results obtained. And then another comparison was completed. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 15.4 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Carlos Hernandez and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Carlos Hernandez is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. So then moving on to the stain on the exterior of the mask. The DNA profile is interpreted as a mixture of 2 individuals. Joshua Zuazo is excluded as a possible contributor to the DNA results obtained. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 5.44 trillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Carlos Hernandez and 1 unrelated unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unrelated unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Carlos Hernandez is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. One more comparison. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 9 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray and 1 unrelated unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unrelated unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA typing results obtained.
I'm going to direct your attention to property report number 173005, a white T-shirt. That's going to be People's Exhibit number 7E. Let me approach you with that exhibit. Do you recognize this exhibit? Does it have your initials?
Yes.
Item number?
Yes.
I don't have it memorized, I'm sorry. It's 173005. And did you examine that white T-shirt that's been labeled Exhibit number 7E?
Yes, I did. I collected 2 stains from the white T-shirt. There was a red-brown stain on the exterior of the T-shirt that indicated the possible presence of blood. I collected a sample from this stain. I also took a swab of the interior T-shirt collar for DNA analysis.
Okay. And can you tell us, did you have any results that were relevant?
For the stain on the exterior of the white t-shirt, the DNA profile is interpreted as originating from a single male individual. Joshua Zuazo, Carlos Hernandez, and Linda Murray are excluded as possible contributors to the DNA results obtained. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 17.2 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray than if it originated from an unrelated, unknown individual. This provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. So moving on to the other sample that I collected, which was a swab of the interior collar of the t-shirt. I collect this and trying to determine who may have been a user of the t-shirt. The collar swab, the DNA profile is interpreted as a mixture of 3 individuals. I then completed 2 comparisons. The first comparison, based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 1,820 times more likely if the DNA originated from 3 unrelated, unknown individuals than if it originated from Joshua Zuazo and 2 unrelated, unknown individuals. This analysis provides moderate support that Joshua Zuazo is not a contributor to the DNA results obtained. The second comparison, based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 10.5 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Carlos Hernandez and 2 unrelated, unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unrelated, unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Carlos Hernandez is a contributor to the DNA results obtained.
Next, property report number 1729981, which are the brown Timberland boots, which is marked 7A. Do you see that in your report?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 7A. This has already been introduced. Do you recognize this with your initials on it?
Yes, I tested these 3 separate times, so there are several tape seals with my initials on them.
And can you tell us what part of the boots on this first request did you test?
A sample was collected from the interior right boot for DNA analysis. I also found evidence screening indicated the possible presence of blood on both boots, but another sample was collected from the stain on the exterior of the right boot. So a stain indicating the possible presence of blood was swabbed in addition to the interior of the boot.
And did you get any results that are relevant to this case?
For the interior of the right boot, due to the limited nature of the results from this item, the data is not suitable for comparison purposes, so I did not do any comparisons on this. The stain on the exterior of the right boot, the DNA profile is interpreted as originating from a single male individual. I then completed comparisons. Joshua Zuazo, Carlos Hernandez, and Linda Murray are excluded as possible contributors to the DNA results obtained. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 13.2 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray than if it originated from an unrelated, unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibit number 7F. Which are the black Nike shoes. Do you recognize your initials on that?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us, was there anything relevant to this case when you processed those shoes?
So this is item 172992. A sample was collected from the interior of the right shoe for DNA analysis. Evidence screening indicated the possible presence of blood on both shoes, and another sample was collected from a stain on the exterior of the right shoe for a DNA analysis. Moving on to my interpretations. From the interior of the right shoe, the partial DNA profile is interpreted as a mixture of 2 individuals. I then completed 3 interpretations. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 523 times more likely if the DNA originated from 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from Joshua Zuazo and 1 unrelated unknown individual. This analysis provides moderate support that Joshua Zuazo is not a contributor to the DNA results obtained. Based on the DNA results, it is approximately 3.63 times more likely if the DNA originated from 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from Carlos Hernandez and 1 unrelated unknown individual. This analysis provides limited support that Carlos Hernandez is not a contributor to the DNA results obtained. The last comparison, based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 17.9 million times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray and 1 unrelated unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unrelated unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. So moving on to the stain on the exterior of the right shoe. The DNA profile is interpreted as originating from a single male individual. Joshua Zuazo, Carlos Hernandez, and Linda Murray are excluded as possible contributors to the DNA results obtained. And one last comparison for this item. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 22.8 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray than if it originated from an unrelated unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained.
Okay. Are there any other relevant results that you had from your first request?
Some items were not tested on this request and they were tested on a future request. I'm not sure if I went through all of the items that were tested on here.
Okay.
Would you like me to go through
I
any
don't
more?
wanna go
I don't know.
through
There's a
that.
lot of items
Yeah,
tested. I don't know how
the items
much.
that have relevant test results, I'm not going to ask you about the irrelevant ones. Defense counsel can ask you if they want to about any of those. I'm just going to ask where we have relevant responses, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to direct your attention to request number 4, exhibit number 10. Directing your attention to property number 172871, the duct tape from the kitchen floor. That's going to be labeled People's Exhibit number 8E. Did you test that item?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us? Sorry, Judge. It's okay. Did you test 8B?
Which one is that?
That duct tape?
The 3 pieces of duct tape that was found in the kitchen?
Yes.
I did test that.
And can you tell us what relevant results, if any, that you found?
There were comparisons to all 4 individuals, if you'd like me to go through and read all of those.
Yes, please.
Okay, so these 3 pieces of duct tape, I received them and it's still intact. I took a swabbing of all 3 of those items and then obtained a DNA profile, and the DNA profile is interpreted as a mixture of 3 individuals. So all 4 people in this case were compared, so I'm going to read all of them. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 4.95 billion times more likely the DNA originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from Joshua Zuazo and 2 unrelated unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Joshua Zuazo is not a contributor to the DNA results obtained. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 1.42 million times more likely if the DNA originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from Carlos Hernandez and 2 unrelated unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Carlos Hernandez is not a contributor to the DNA results obtained. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 3.57 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. And based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 947 quadrillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Linda Murray and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unrelated, unknown individuals. This analysis provides very strong support that Linda Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained.
Okay. And my fault, and apology, I was looking for Exhibit 8B in a smaller bag. It's actually in this box. Do you recognize that with your initials as what you tested?
Yes, it was in the box to ensure the tape did not get squished together in a bag.
I'm going to ask you, did you test property number 172856, which was the duct tape from the victim's hands?
Yes. I took the swab.
That's going to be marked as 8C for the exhibits.
So I took this swab while I was on scene. It was a swab of the duct tape that was wrapped around the victim's hand while I was on scene.
Okay, I'm going to approach with that. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Can you tell us what results, if any, you found on 8C?
I cut swab, and the DNA results I obtained. The DNA profile is interpreted as originating from a single male individual. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 18.6 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray than if it originated from an unrelated, unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. Joshua Zuazo, Carlos Hernandez, and Linda Murray are excluded as possible contributors to the DNA results obtained.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's property number 172894B, People's Exhibit number 8D. I can approach. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and that's your initials on there?
Yes.
Were there any relevant results on People's Exhibit number 8D?
So this item contained the duct tape swabs and additional zip ties that were taken off at the MEs for additional testing. As I had already swabbed the duct tape, that went to our latent print examiner for further testing, but I did DNA testing on the zip tie pieces because those were not viewable during the time of the first swabbing. So those zip tie pieces, the DNA profile is originating from a single male individual. Based on the DNA typing results, it is approximately 14.8 octillion times more likely if the DNA originated from Hussein Murray than if it originated from an unrelated, unknown individual. This analysis provides very strong support that Hussein Murray is a contributor to the DNA results obtained. Joshua Zuazo, Carlos Hernandez, and Linda Murray are excluded as possible contributors to the DNA results obtained.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 8D. Do you recognize that exhibit regarding the zip ties?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you recognize it with your initials?
Yes.
And those zip ties and duct tape, those correspond with property number 172894B.
Yep, that's the zip ties I just read.
Okay. And were there any relevant results found there?
Those were the zip tie pieces I just read a moment ago. Those were the relevant results.
Okay. I'll show you what's been marked as 7G.
Mr. Judge, if I say need 8G?
Judge, can I approach for a second?
Come on up. We are gonna take a break, ladies and gentlemen, so, just 20 minutes back in your jury room, I'll bring you back in shortly.
All rise for the jury, please.
All right, I'll be back.
Thank you, Judge.
You may be seated.
Need some help, just